So, when you think about what really shapes your financial future, what comes to mind? Probably the big stuff, right? Buying a house, making a huge career change. But what if I told you that the real story, the thing that truly determines your long term wealth, is hidden in plain sight, in the tiny choices you make every day and barely even notice?
We pretty much split our financial world into two buckets. You've got the heavy hitters over here, buying that first home, switching careers, making a big investment. These feel like the moments that define everything. And then you've got the small stuff. The daily coffee, the streaming services you're subscribed to, the little things you buy without a second thought. All right, so here's the million-dollar question. Which one of these actually has more power over where you end up financially? Well, the answer is probably not the one you're thinking of. Okay, so let's dig into why we get this so backwards. We are absolutely obsessed with the big dramatic decisions. Why? Because our brains are literally wired for it. We love a good story, a major turning point that feels like it changes our entire path in one go. And the contrast here really tells the whole story. Big decisions are visible, they're emotional, they're memorable. You see the new house, you feel the excitement of the new job. But the small decisions, they're the total opposite, just routine, low effort, and pretty much emotionally neutral. They're like financial ghosts. And this gets right to the heart of it. Financial outcomes are cumulative. They aren't built on these one-time shocks to the system. They're built on what you do day in and day out. The quiet, repetitive, almost boring actions are what truly, truly matter. And this is where you start to see the almost unbelievable power of these small choices. It all comes down to the slow, steady, and kind of sneaky math of accumulation. Think about it like this. A simple $5 choice every day feels like absolutely nothing. But that tiny leak, it adds up to $150 a month. Before you know it, that's $1,800 a year. And over a decade, and this is before any investment growth, that's over $18,000 gone, all from a decision you barely even thought about. So, where is all this quiet accumulation actually happening? It's not in some dramatic stock pick. Nope, it's in the boring stuff. Your daily spending habits, those subscriptions that just auto renew without you noticing, the tiny bank fees you ignore, and, of course, the magic of compounding interest, which can be slowly working for you or silently working against you. The reason we miss all this is actually pretty simple. We are event detectors. Our brains evolved to react to sudden changes, the lion jumping out of the bush, not the slow, invisible growth of the forests around us. And that exact same wiring applies to how we see our money. Now, this isn't just some random quirk. It is a specific psychological bias that is actively working against our financial well-being. And honestly, understanding it is the very first step to beating it. Psychologists have a name for this. It's called present bias. It's our built-in natural tendency to overvalue the immediate reward, that coffee right now, and drastically undervalue the long-term consequence. Because, well, the future is abstract, but the present is right here, real and tangible. So here's the crucial point to remember. Your brain isn't being stupid or lazy when it ignores a $5 purchase. It's just doing what it was programmed to do. It ignores these little choices because, in the moment, they feel completely and totally insignificant. That little emotional alarm bell that screams, "This is important," just doesn't go off. So if our own brains are basically wired to fail at this, what's the solution? Just try harder? Rely on more discipline and willpower? No, absolutely not. The real answer is to stop fighting your own psychology and instead build a better system. Let's be honest, relying on willpower is exhausting. It requires you to make the right choice again and again and again, and it's the very first thing to disappear when you're tired or stressed. Systems, on the other hand, they're automatic. They just run quietly in the background, making the right choice for you without you even having to think about it. So, how do you actually build these systems? Well, you design your environment. For example, you can set up an automatic transfer to your savings account the day you get paid. Boom, that's a positive default. Or you can remove your saved credit card info from your favorite shopping sites to add a little friction to those impulse buys. It's all about making the good choices easy and the bad choices just a little bit harder. And this really is fantastic news. It means you don't need some sudden windfall or a heroic act of financial discipline to completely change your future. You just need to focus on making small, simple, sustainable improvements. All right, so let's bring it all home. How do we take this incredibly powerful idea of quiet accumulation and actually put it to work for us instead of against us? The formula is actually really simple. First, always prioritize consistency over intensity. It is so much better to automatically save $100 every single month than to try and fail to save $1,000 once a year. Second, build those low friction systems that make good choices for you. And third, just embrace the incredible power of small, positive habits repeated endlessly over time. If you take just one thing away today, please let it be this. The big, flashy financial decisions, yeah, they might make for good stories. But it's the small, boring, repetitive decisions that are quietly humming in the background, doing all the actual work of building your wealth. So, I'll leave you with this to think about. Forget the grand plans for a minute. Forget the massive overhauls. What is the one small, simple system you can set up this week that will make your financial future just a little bit better automatically?
All sources and references for this video are listed in the description below. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Please consult a licensed professional for your specific situation.